Hey, welcome back to Shedding Light on Ghosts, one of our favorite shows that is currently out there in the ether. We're watching it on CBS All Access or Paramount Plus. It's up to you how you watch it. I do not judge. I just enjoy this comedy. It is magnificent and it was a doozy this week because, after all, we got into the not so silent partner. We got a return of a character that we thought we'd never see again because her scams were scamming and we thought she was done trenching, but she got right into it and did not disappoint with her constant schemes. We are talking about Ghosts season 4, episode 11, The Not So Silent Partner. Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let us hop into the first glance. All right. So, the first glance of this one, it's just, a nice fun return because Mark wanted to know who the silent partner is. We got sick and tired of being sick and tired. They kept trying to order a different tile and they were trying to get it right for the restaurant. And after the umpteenth, that's the word I'm going to use, umpteenth try to get this tile right, and the Amazon guy delivers it, and it's a big moment. It's like, all right, this is it. This is going to be the one. And of course, silent partner is actually Isaac, and Isaac rejects the tile for the umpteenth time. So, got a little guest spot from our dog. Mark is fed up. He's putting his foot down, even though he's kind of scammy himself. And we'll get into a little bit more once we get now into the thick of it. But Mark's had enough, and he wants to meet the silent partner and get this tile situation under control so that they can finally be finished and move on with the project. So let's hop into the thick of it. All right. Well, the thick of it this time is Mark putting his foot down, forcing Sam and Jay to reveal said silent partner. And of course, they go to the ghosts and try to figure out a way to kind of get that going without actually revealing that it's the ghost of a captain in the Revolutionary War. So, of course, they call the scam artist, the woman from season 2 ago, who basically came forward and said that she was a relative of Sam and was more so entitled to the house than Sam was. And it turns out she was a scam artist with the lawyer, and they were trying to scam him out of the house because it's a good idea to make a bed and breakfast out of a giant mansion. So they get into the thick of it, if you will. Kelsey returning, and she is trying to deceive Mark. They hire her to come through and act like she is the silent partner, but she goes way into it to the point where, in the end, she ends up trying to scam Mark and succeeding. She's actually really good at being a scam artist. And there's a couple of things that I want to bring up that I've noticed over the time that I've been watching the show, and that is the fact that Mark, the gentleman that plays Mark, his name is Tristan Lala, and he has this like really familiar looking face, and I can't figure out where I know him from because I only know him from the show. But as it would turn out, he was in another show that I really like, and that is the Animal Control show. He was in the first season, so I thought that was a pretty fun coincidence. And it bugged the heck out of me to go, where is he from? He looks so familiar, and that's where he was from. He's also done voiceover work, a lot of voiceover work. Anyway, the other thing that I noticed about the show is the consistency of the lack of improvements. So, like, you're getting this this fence that's in front of the mansion, and it's been trampled and destroyed, and it's been trampled and destroyed since the beginning, and they haven't fixed it. So it's like, what are you guys doing? At least fix the fence. You know what I mean? At least they can get that part done, because it's like one of those like cast iron fence that's very difficult to kind of rebuild, especially today, because not too many foundries are around. But I'm sure they probably could. But it would have been really cool if they would have fixed that. But keeping to the lowbrow of it, it's kind of like one of those recurring jokes that I just kind of picked up on this episode, because as I was watching last week's episode as a recap, and Sam kind of crashed into it again. I found it funny that it's basically not crashed into again. It's been crashed, destroyed since the beginning of the show. I went all the way back to season one. It was still like lying basically on the floor. Anyway, one of the backstories that I thought was hysterical was the background of Hetty Woodstone. The They get into this ancestry.com thing. It was one of the, and if you're watching this from, and I appreciate you stopping by, the clip that they released last week to kind of get us salivating for the new season, the rest of the new season. Um, they were talking about the fact that they have royal heritage in their blood, and of course Pete makes that great joke. He's like, "Oh yeah, well I don't have any royal heritage, but my uncle owned a Dairy Queen and a Burger King, and then he owned a Subway, but that doesn't mean anything." um, the the timing on these jokes are so good, and that's Richie Moriarty. He's so good at this role of Pete, and one of the things I keep hearing rumblings if somebody wants to leave the show. I think it's the other um, uh, British actor who plays Nigel. I think he left. I don't really know. I haven't really dug into it, but if anybody leaves the show, it's going to be tough to like replace them and or fill in the gaps because there's such a good ensemble cast. Everybody's role: Trevor, Alberta, Jay, Isaac, Pete, especially Thorfinn. Just nail it every time. Sheila, who plays Flower, everybody's just so good. Um, Alberta has really great one zingers that it hit in there, and it lands every time. And I just chuckle. This is probably one of those shows that I've actually rewatched quite a bit, and there's not too many shows that I can say that about other than Star Trek. Um, I literally will go back to the beginning and watch this in the downtime and go, "Oh yeah," and then you'll notice certain things that you didn't notice before. It is very well written, very well executed, and this ensemble cast is perfect. But back to Eddie, and throughout the show, she's always disliked Irish people, which is terrible. Irish people are cool, and the whole time she always says something about the Irish. All these jokes about Irish folk and everything. Well, when they go in ancestry, turns out she's Irish, and Thorfinn knew. And this is what's really interesting, and this is where I'm going to hit the wrap. One of the most interesting things about this show is I think that there is a history of seeing ghosts because they just revealed in this episode that Hetty was able to see Thorfinn, and Thorfinn was Hetty's guardian. She had another name for him, like Gorb or something like that, but Gory or Gary. But I did notice that since Hetty is Sam's distant relative, she was able to see Thorfinn as a ghost when she was a little kid. And Sam can see Thorfinn, she can see the ghost. And maybe that family has an ability, because each of the ghosts has an ability, and the human has the ability to see the ghost. So maybe that's something that the family actually has, and they just unlocked it by her hitting her head. Maybe that's she's related to what is it, the Sixth Sense? I see dead people. Maybe she's related to that kid. Maybe they're also a Woodstone. I don't know. I don't know what you thought about this episode, but I thought it was fantastic. I'm not going to dive a whole half hour into a half hour show because it just doesn't seem to be logical. But of course, Mark and Jay and Sam have this real quick banter. They try to basically pawn off that in actuality, Murkesh, Jay's dad, was actually the real private investor, and they do this like ad libs thing, and it worked really well. And it was a nice way to wrap up everything. But that connection between Thorfinn and Haiti was really, really dope, really sentimental, and it shows like how long he's been there and how he's been the longest living, the unliving on the Ghost cast. He's been there for thousands of years because the Vikings were the first ones to come to America. That's rough. That's rough. He's seen it all. He's seen South Seas people come and go. He's seen the Woodstones come and live in that house and just unalive in that house, or basically they found his bones in front of the house under the fountain. So it's really wild. This is such a good show, and there's so many little details that just kind of make it a perfect bow. I'm very excited to see where the rest of the season goes, and I will be back next Saturday morning. I hope you come and join me. And if you enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe. It's those wondrous things that we love to talk about on the show that we love so much to see. So I am Joe Dove. I am the founder and creator of To Be Seen, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, talking to Ghost a little bit. I don't do extreme deep dives because it's a half-hour show. I just kind of get into the base, the meat and potatoes, so to speak. Irish. And we'll be back next week for the next episode, which will be Therapy 2 Abandonment Issues. Ooh. Okay, so join us next week. Bye.